got Vlad, Tony, and Claudio. Welcome to the stage.
Thanks, Dean.
Let me get you a microphone.
Yeah. So. This is my first time on stage ever, so my anxiety level is up here. So if I lose myself, I'm sorry. And this is the first time we're actually presenting all domains on a stage and in public, like telling people what we're doing. I mean, you probably saw us on Twitter. Some of you, I mean, we've done stuff with AthensDAO, so we're good. So what are we doing? Who we are? We are all domains. We are bridging the gap between Web 2 and Web 3 domains and doing .anything on Solana. What we are going for, like what our vision is to connect Web 2 and Web 3 domains. You know, like Web 2 domains are the ones that work in browsers, that you can visit them, do everything with it. The Web 3 domains are the ones that you use on Solana, like .sol, in our case .sir with, you know, with Dean. Again, sorry. And like we're trying to facilitate a smooth transition towards a decentralized web and make them indistinguishable. What is the current gap between them, right? What is the Web 2 domain? It's like a name instead of an IP address, right? It points to something. What is the Web 3 domain? It's a name instead of a wallet address, right? It points to your Solana address, right? Again, they're fundamentally used for a similar purpose, but they work and trade differently. Do you want to pick this up?
Yeah. So thank you all for coming, first of all. So the main difference is that, you know, we know Web 2 domains, how they work, and we kind of try to find out what's in it with the Web 3 domains. Basically, they serve for an identity. And what we realize is that we can actually do something more, and that's why we launched with .id, which is the country code of Indonesia, but it also works like it's actually your identity. So .id is actually a very cool TLD. So what we did, we launched a pilot, and in which you can actually buy with the Solana wallet, you can claim a domain, which works like a Web 3 domain, but you also have the Web 2 domain in the same time. And this one will point to a real website whenever you want to do it. Why we did this? Because actually it's very interesting. I think the future is about Web 3 domains, but people still want to use those, the older Web 2 domains. The next step will be actually to allow Web 3 domains to work in browsers, just like Web 2. But this is what we plan to do in the future. So this is just the first pilot. Of course, what's different is that you can, for many DAOs, it's a thing that they have their web domain, but it's usually owned by just a single person. So this will allow in the future to have your web domains owned by, through realms, for example. You have the ownership as a DAO group, which I think is going to be really interesting in the future. A lot of issues are with trademarking and your domain. Now, I think it's best to... Okay, so what are all domains? Besides the pilot with .id, what we do is any kind of TLD on Solana. So far, we launched like 30 plus TLDs. You can see all of them. But we also did in partnership with major projects on Solana, like, you know, .monkey, .superteam, .bonk, which is now like on a crazy pump. What's also very important, so our domains are integrated in major wallets like Phantom and Solflare. And this is just the beginning. We are going to continue integrating in every major dApp in the future. So far, we have around 40K domains, 37 TLDs, and basically like 20% share of all Solana domains. What kind of TLDs we have? We have the Web 2, which is with .id. We have in partnership with the projects. And then we have something really cool, which is TLDs that are actually opened by communities. And I will explain you a bit later what's the story behind .serve, for example. So,
Yeah.
do you want to
Okay.
take this over?
Yeah, of course. So another part of what we're doing, we're actually decentralizing TLDs, right? And .sir is like, again, it's a very, okay, close to you guys use case, right? Basically, you can actually crowdfund the TLD, right? You can get your community, they use our token, and they open up that specific TLD. In the case, this one is .sir, right? They lock up some of our tokens. We have a token. They decide on a price, on a pricing scheme, whatever. Depending on how much token do they lock up, then they get fees on every domain that is claimed on that specific TLD, and that goes to them. So, you know, they can actually then they can enable the NFT trading for them or whatever. So, yeah.
And this can apply to every DAO. It's like you have a community, you have your own identity, you wanna launch your TLD, but you're actually making money out of it. Because based on your contribution, each one who's contributing to that pool is actually making money. Now, because we're here, we want to talk a bit about our DAO and what we are trying to do. So first of all, I think we are just making the first steps. We are not there yet. And basically with the help of Dinsley's DAO, we are going to make it better in the future. But for now, it's just a few things that you can actually do through our DAO on Realms. So anyone holding the token, which has the utility to open up the pools, but it also has a governance role. So you can decide on what TLD can be open. We have a list of restricted TLDs for multiple reasons. First of all, we don't want to pollute the existing TLDs. You have, all the traditional web TLDs that are already open, so we don't want to do that. We have some Web3 TLDs from like .eth, .bnb, .arb, and so on, so we don't want to pollute that. And also, there are a lot of big projects on Solana, and we don't want to let anyone just open them because, we are we are part of the Solana community. We know how important it is to have that identity. We don't want to let people just open up .monkey, and we would rather just restrict them. But through a DAO vote, you can actually discuss it. So, for example, if that project doesn't care about the TLD, then in time you can actually vote, and if that vote works, that means you can open up that TLD, right? Also, some smaller technicalities, like you can update prices. The biggest problem we had so far with our TLD pools is that everybody just wants to have a high price on the domains. Let's say you you open up and you put like $100 per one domain, and usually people don't actually buy. So you need to have a price which is affordable to everyone that wants to have that identity. So what we can do through our DAO vote, you can update those prices once you realize it was a bad strategy at the beginning. We don't want to just have a TLD squatting and then nobody uses those domains or nobody claims those domains. So it has to be a tool, right? And also we have a campaign in which we reward people that claim domains directly on our website, and through our DAO vote, we decide on which campaign, which TLD, and how much token should be there just to claim.
By the way, like we decided to open up like our product more and more to the DAO, and exactly for the reason that Robert mentioned earlier, right? There's a lot of risks in a DAO, and like we've built our product step by step, brick by brick. So we first had, normal domains, then we added renewable domains, then we added more, more features to them, and this is exactly the way we see our DAO. We open it up in steps as we understand the risks, as we understand that exactly like I said, like Robert mentioned, So we're still in the beginning of our forming our DAO and understanding who are the people here. And again, I think in the Solana ecosystem, people are more and more aware of DAOs and more, more mature about this. And we become more mature at the same pace as the ecosystem, right?
And in the end, I recommend you guys to just talk with Dinsley's DAO, and they know everything about how you can set up a DAO, what are the rules, and how you can gradually just become better in this, and what are the hacks, of course, and how you protect yourself. Okay, so you are going for the wins.
Yeah. So
Actually, I want to say that, look, this is a 1.5 year project. Everything that we have done has been done in time. We've been building, although the market was not great. And this is something that we are really proud of because we did this against all odds. And we just took it gradually. And, you know, now if we are looking back, we actually see that we did something. So
Yeah.
this is just to summarize in a way what we did in the last 1.5 years since we launched.
So, like, how are our domains? So we have permanent or renewable domains, right? You can, you can renew them year after year, exactly like the Web2 part, like a .com address. And that's why, like, our technology works good with the Web2 part because it has this feature.
Actually, we started with permanent domains because that's how .sol domains are. And our first project was poor domains. It was a joke 1.5 years ago that Solana is for the poors. So we said, okay, if that's the alternative, we are just going to do .poor domains. But we gradually evolved, and maybe we are still poor, kind of, but
we're still evolving.
But we realized that we want to push the domain market on Solana. So what was missing is actually renewable domains. What renewable domains? It's a bit better business model. If you just have a domain which is permanent, that means people squat on them, and if you want to have your own name, it's already taken by someone else, and maybe that guy just forgot about having a domain. So by having them renewable, that means every year, if they don't renew, they're just lost, right? So you can actually claim again. And that's what was, at that point, I think it was a major shift for what was happening on Solana.
Another thing that we're doing, or like another feature that we have for our domains, for specific TLD, you can decide, like, okay, you can decide that they're non-transferable, right? That means they're not tradable, whatever. This is good for infrastructure projects. Like, let's say, for example, like .realms at one point, right? And people won't trade them. They are linked to a treasury address or whatever. That's what, like, they are there, right? They're not going to move ever. We also have like eligibility gating infrastructure for claiming domains, for registration of domains. This is good in the Web2 part, right? Because you need to check if it was registered, if it was,
I mean, the examples are like for Monkey DAO.
Yeah, for Monkey.
For Super Team, maybe you can tell a bit.
Because at that point, like, you need an outside and like a solution that it's also Web2 part. You can't have, currently not everything is on chain, right? So you have this. For transferable domains, you have NFT wrapping, right? Because people want to trade them. It's like, people want to do this. This is an important part of our ecosystem. People want to trade stuff, right? So we have, like we said earlier, first decentralized Web3 TLDs through our pools. We are integrated in major Solana wallets, and like we're pushing.
That was a long road. I mean, integrations are something that you need to push for, and you need to have trust. People have to actually trust you to allow this integration in major wallets. So it was a huge work, but it's starting to pay off, right?
We've built the infrastructure to tokenize any Web2 domains on Solana. Currently, like we launched with .id, but we're continuously building on top of this to allow more, more anything. Like this, we see this.
It could be .com, for example, at some point, right? So imagine that you work with like someone like Namecheap. Basically, for each Web2 domain, you can have your Web3 domain, and you can trade it as an NFT. It's that simple. And that's what we want to do, but we do have a roadmap. This is just a summary of the roadmap, right?
So what we want to do next, actually, for this year, we actually, before that, trial Web3 registration for existing Web2 domains. So basically, people will be able to switch for .ids, switch them to us, and then if they want to trade them and use them on Solana, like, that's the plan for this. Another thing that we're doing in the next couple of weeks is having name servers on chain for those domains, which is, again, like building the infrastructure to make Web2 and Web3 indistinguishable. There's no point, like, the infrastructure for Web2 is, like, there's no point of being it like it is, right? Next step for us for next year is to make Web3 domains work in browsers. We've started working on this. It's a long road, but like we're used to doing different things and like, you know, just yeah, we're used to changing changing how stuff works. We are gonna do all affiliates, which is basically allow anyone to what's called to, you know, to sell our domains to their marketplace or to their.
It's just building the API, right?
Yeah, exactly. And since we want to work the Web3 domains work in browsers, right? Make them indistinguishable to Web2, that means Web3 hosting. So not just in Phantom, again, in your browser. That means hosting, domain parking, and account compression, like, and you know, compressed NFTs for domains. This is something that Tolly always asks for. I'm like, okay, it's going to happen at one point, but like these are our next steps. And of course, continuous integration. This like domains have. There's no point in having them if they're not integrated everywhere.
So imagine if you get your name.id, and you can use that actually for any kind of links, any kind of advertising in the future, or set up your own social profile. So that means it's just you're making money out of it, right? If you're not really using it as for your business. Okay, so that was from us. Thank you. If you have any questions, I think we have one.
I'll get a new mic. You hold on.
Hey guys, great talk. I'm just wondering, like, do you have like a thesis or a theory about like how sort of like in the Web2 space, .com became predominant? Everybody uses .com. Obviously, there's a bunch of other things, .org, .app, whatever. But I'm just wondering if you think the same kind of thing will play out in the Web3 space, where there'll be like a dominant something. Or whether you think it'll be more open?
That's a really interesting question. So, currently, the domain market is very, like, if you think about this, right? Currently, the numbers say that most domains are, like, in the Web3 world, are on ETH. So, like, they are predominant. But it depends, like, because this is not a. Sorry, I need to think this through what I want to say. 1 second. So, I honestly don't think so, you know. This is a fluid thing. We're continuously evolving. I don't think there's going to be one, or I think there's going to be one that's going to change. Like, in a few years, there's going to be another one and another one and another one. This is like how this world works, and I see it as a, wait, like, you can, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think the difference is that we are looking at a decentralized web. So first of all, we just want to change that from the fact that, you know, there is .com, everybody's just used to it. There are a bunch of TLDs, I don't know, but you have to work through ICANN. You need to open up a TLD. Nobody can do that. You have to put like 200K just to open up a TLD. I think this is what we are trying to change. We are trying to change from a very, you know, we are trying to change to a decentralized kind of market. So it's very hard for me to say that there is going to be a predominant one. What we see so far is obvious, the native ones like .eth, .sol, maybe .polygon, but I don't know, .bnb. These are the main ones because that's where people, the first identity that everyone has on a chain is related to that blockchain where they're actually starting to, you know, evolve. But I think that's going to change in time, and this is what we are doing through our decentralized domains and the project that we are having, because we're giving them a new identity, and they get to choose their own identity. Hard to say which one will be the predominant one, but let's just open up and then see what's happening.
Claudio mentioned something really interesting here. It's identity. So this is another difference between the Web 2 and the Web 3 world, right? The Web 2 is not, you're not going to have, like, you don't have your .com as an identity, right? It's your business. that's more successful, right? And maybe that's how it started at one point. I like it. The fact that it's more successful, it's kind of like a grandfathered in thing. It's like that. In this space, in like in our ecosystem, things evolve way faster. Different communities become, like at one point there's this community and then there's the other community. There's all the time things shift and things change. And since this is an identity thing, I think, like I said, at one point it's going to be that monkey. At one point it's going to be that super team, right? Or at one point it's going to be another one. So I don't think I think this is a way more fluid world than the standard one, right? Okay. Hopefully we answered your question. Yeah.
Thank you.